Welcome back to Vintage Vinyl. My name is Jeffrey Lee Puckett, music writer with the Courier Journal, down here in the Vintage Vinyl basement with my buddy Tom Heiser.
Honored as always to be in the presence of JLP. We're going to take on another big task, round 2 of the Beatles.
It was 20 years ago today. Sergeant Pepper taught the band to play.
There are going to be a few songs on here, as JLP has said before, that I'm not the biggest Beatles fan in the world, but there was certainly a rich enough treasure trove to dig out 10 really great songs. And I'm going to start it off at number 10 with Day Tripper, a song that I really used to like. That was a college tune for me. It was one of the later Beatles songs that I still sounded a little early to me.
I cheated a little. My number 10 is the medley from side 2 of Abbey Road.
You talk about cheating.
Now, that's considered, though, one track. Everywhere you look, it's considered as the medley on Abbey Road.
I was still hoping you weren't going to go there. I was
but
hoping
it's
you were
so
going to
great.
pick a song. Pick a song.
I picked 6 songs, as it happens.
At number 9, this might seem a little strange. I'm going with Baby You're a Rich Man.
Another late period.
It's a very late period, but it's a little personal story. I had the 45 as a very young little wee lad growing up in the South End, and it was the flip side to All You Need Is Love, which I really did not like. I thought, I like the other side of this. So for some reason, Baby You're a Rich Man always really kind of stuck with me.
Yeah. Number 9 for me is from the Help soundtrack. You've got to Hide Your Love Away.
Very good.
This is kind of a deep album cut for me. I don't know if it was ever a super popular Beatles song.
Hey, you've got to hide your love away.
It's also, the lyrics apparently are a sly reference to the manager, Brian Epstein, who was homosexual at a time when that was illegal in the United Kingdom. So you've got to hide your love away. It was a nice, he really made a nice twist in that it seemed like a broken-hearted dude song, but it was actually a bit of a social statement.
At number 8, I'm going with Help. Help, I need somebody, help. Not just anybody, help. I need someone.
I'm not going to do that.
Oh,
I'm not going to do that.
Help. I'm not trying to
I was
When I was younger than today, I never needed anybody's help in any way.
I wanted to hear you hit the high note.
He kind of drifts back again to that old. It had a little bit of that, kind of early sound right at the beginning of the song. But I not as big a fan as the older stuff, but still, Help is really good.
Yeah, I love the lyrics to that one. Drive My Car is my number 8.
Very good choice.
Drive My Car is an
Very
amazing song. It's I'm going to get confused about Rubber Soul and Revolver all day long on this show because I seem to think of those 2 albums as basically being a double album. Mm-hmm. So Drive My Car is on one of those 2 albums.
At number 7, I'm going with Here Comes the Sun, which actually is my first real experience with George Harrison, with really liking George Harrison sung the song.
Here comes the sun, doo-doo-doo. Here comes the sun, and I say it's all right.
It is a beautiful song. It's not my favorite George Harrison song, but it is a beautiful, beautiful song.
I love it.
I'm a little bit psychedelic for number 7. She Said, She Said.
Wow.
It's got some of my favorite John Lennon lyrics, one of my favorite John Lennon vocals. That little weird thing he does where out of nowhere he goes, "When I was a boy."
There we go. Now we're getting it. That's what I wanted to hear.
But that's a great song. That's also on Rubber Soul / Revolver.
At number 6, I'm going with what I think is arguably the most fun song in this list for me, and one of the more fun Beatles songs.
Fun is not the word I would.
I like Lady Madonna. You don't like Lady Madonna?
No, I don't.
No, you don't. Well, you know what? I think we're going to have a little conversation later about some of your choices, but it's a fun song. I've always thought that especially with the later stuff, it wasn't either psychedelic or too serious. It was just a lot of fun.
Number 6 is kind of a recent addition to my top 10 later periods list. Dear Prudence from the White Album. I listened to the White Album in its entirety the weekend of Beatles Festival. I just wanted to listen to the White Album all the way through. And when I got through, I realized two things.
Legal disclaimer: Vintage Vinyl, the producers, their family, friends, pets, and general acquaintances wish to acknowledge that working on said show does not constitute any implied or real agreement with the words that are about to come out of JLP's mouth. The opinion you're about to hear is his and his alone. May God have mercy on our soul.
One, the White Album's not that great as a whole. And two, Dear Prudence is just a staggering song. It's the second half of White Album, only has like 3 good songs out of 10.
Well, there will be a little bit more to do with the White Album coming up. But no, I agree with you. But that's a very interesting choice.
Yeah. All right. On that note, we're going to check the Magic Guest Ball. We're going to find out who will chip in with their favorite latter Beatles song this week.
It might be Lady Madonna.
I doubt it very seriously.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hey, it's my Morning Jacket's Jim James. And is that a Beatles sombrero?
So I'd have to say the Beatles song that means the most to me would be Kisses on Me Bottom, because I feel like it speaks to
Jim.
budget.
Jim. That's a Paul McCartney solo song, and it's Kisses on the Bottom.
Oh. Well, I guess I'd say... Well, that's a tough question to spring on somebody, really, because the government created the Beatles to change as you change, to change as the listener changes. So, when I was a boy, and you asked me what my favorite Beatles song was, I probably would have said Yellow Submarine, or maybe All Together Now. Or if you asked me as an adolescent boy what my favorite Beatles song was, I'd probably say Rocky Raccoon. Or if you asked me as a high school student, I'd probably say Across the Universe. Or if you asked me as a college lad, I'd probably say Long, Long, Long. But since me all grown up now and a big man, I'd have to say Let It Be. Yeah, Let It Be.
All right, that was not Lady Madonna.
Oh, wow.
I can guarantee that.
But it's still fun. All right, we've moved up into the starting lineup at number 5.
This is going to be hard.
We can work it out.
No, we
what
can't.
You're saying. Yes, I'm going. We can work. We've always worked it out, but number 5, we can work it out. I think lyrically, that's always been one of my fallback tunes.
Think of what I'm saying. We can work it out and get it straight or say goodnight. We can work it out.
It's interesting. A lot of your list is from about the last 14 months of their existence.
And it's strange because as much as I love the beginning, I would have never, without kind of sitting down and looking through these, like as you went through the White Album, I would have said off the top of my head, no, I'm just kind of done, with some of their stuff after, maybe after Rubber Soul / Revolver. But no, I'd certainly found, some of the tunes that I really enjoyed, some of the tunes that I shared with other big Beatle fans when I was in the military or just kind of hanging out. They just pop up on the list, and that's one of them.
George Harrison, for me, comes in at number 5 with If I Needed Someone.
Wow,
I think it's George's best early song, If I Needed Someone.
If I had some more time to spend, then I guess I'd be with you, my friend.
If I Needed Someone has got one of George's great melodies. It's got perhaps his most famous guitar solo.
Number 4, I'm going with Get Back.
Oh, God.
No. So again, the Gallic shrug is what I'm going to get from you when you don't like Get Back. I love that guitar. I think that's fantastic. And of course, being on top of the roof.
Get back to where you once belonged. Get back.
I've never lost that. That to me is later Beatles. I kind of the Beards, and to me that was that song kind of encapsulates their later career. Yeah. And I do love that breakaway guitar.
You've got a Fats Domino rewrite for Lady Madonna, and then a Chuck Berry rewrite for Get Back.
I got no problem. You have a problem with that?
We've got 2 of the greatest songwriters in the history of pop.
But we've already covered their formative years. So
now you're just going to cover the years where they
Get back.
Where they lift songs from other people.
In a pretty darn good way.
That's true. All right.
Oh, you know where we're headed with number 4.
I know where we're headed. This is going to be a disaster. Number 4 is Nowhere Man.
Nowhere Man.
And it should be higher.
It should be higher.
Yes, this song actually is the reason this show exists, because back during that aforementioned Beatles festival, I took it upon myself to make a little list of my favorite 10 Beatles songs. And that particular week, maybe I was feeling a little sorry for myself, I don't know, but I put Nowhere Man at number 1.
2, 3, 4. He's a real nowhere man, sitting in his nowhere land.
So I'm talking about this in the middle of the newsroom. So I say Nowhere Man. Heiser here, who was deep at work, we thought, was instead eavesdropping. He stands up, he rips his headphones off, he screams, "You've got to be kidding me!"
And you have got to be kidding me. Nowhere Man is one of the, I would put it as one of the top 5 worst songs I've ever heard. Not even just on any album. Because all I can think about, JLP, and I mentioned this, and you had no comeback at that time, was all I can think about is that stupid cartoon from Yellow Submarine that was at a quality somewhat lower than Schoolhouse Rock at the time. So here I'm I'm watching Bugs Bunny cartoons as a kid, and I'm watching Daffy Duck, Battle of the Planets, and what do I see? The Beatles with Nowhere Man.
Yeah, but
it's terrible. And
but Nowhere Man,
is so
just because it was used in Yellow Submarine, it was written years before. It has nothing to do with Yellow Submarine.
It has nothing to do with anything. It's such a bad song.
It's not a bad song. It's a poignant song.
But you know what? I give you credit that you have dropped it down in the list. Somehow I must have sunk in and done something. If it was going to be that high on your list. Okay.
Maybe so.
At number 3, I'm going with Revolution.
Which version, Heiser?
Well, which one do you want? Which one do you like?
I'm surprised it's not Revolution number 9.
I got to hear
garbage. This is the single version.
Yes.
This is the single. That's the best version.
If you go carrying pictures of Chairman Mao, what a great line. That is, to me, I think that's the kind of, not to say the psychedelic, but that's the real period of tumult. That they really didn't. You never got a lot of political upheaval in their music, but that was one that kind of challenged it a little bit. And I always loved Revolution.
It was also great. It's the only song I'm aware of that within about a month period there were 3 different versions. There's this version, which is the best version.
Yes.
On the White Album, it's a slow version.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's the psychedelic tape loop version, also on the White Album.
No, we got to go with the...
You definitely picked the right one. Ticket to Ride is number 3 for me.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
She don't care. She don't
care, dude. And that opening.
I'm gonna be sad. I think it's today. The girl that's driving me mad is going away.
Yes.
Oh, the opening is it's one of their.
It's got some of Ringo's best drumming. Ringo is the most great subtle drummer, I think, in the history of drummers. He never gets any credit. Never gets any credit. But Ringo was a bigger star than the other Beatles when they went to recruit him from Rory Storm and the Hurricanes. Ringo was the dude. The Beatles were a club band until Ringo joined. And now everybody says, oh, Ringo's the luckiest guy ever because he got to hook up with the Beatles. Other way around.
Very bold. I like it. At number 2, I'm going with, let's see, Ticket to Ride.
Wow.
Oh, another good mind meld from the vintage vinyl combination.
I'm glad it happened at least once.
I love the lyrics to that. Again, as I said, I love the beginning. And she would never be free when I was around. So, I love that.
Yes. You're not going to like my number 2 probably. And Your Bird Can Sing. Again, from Rubber Soul / Revolver, And Your Bird Can Sing is one of the catchiest Beatles songs. It's a great example of how they were writing these super concise pop songs that were also kind of weird.
Tell me that you got everything you want, and your bird can sing, but you don't get me.
That's all. I'm done defending that song. He's just going to make raspberries.
No, I'm. That's just that's going deep. That's going deep. I just can't say that it strikes me at all. It's one of those that I might listen
you need
to.
Listen to it again.
Yeah.
Or for the first time. For the first time, apparently.
That's forgettable.
I don't think you ever listened to it.
Probably not.
So what's your terrible number one, Tom Heiser?
Well, if you're assuming the number one is terrible, I'm going with a personal favorite, Helter Skelter. Get to the bottom, you go back to the... It's metal. It's the Beatles playing metal. It is a fantastic song. Personally, it really has a hook in me as a child with the book Helter Skelter, the Vincent Bugliosi book, with that face of Charles Manson on the cover, sat on our bookshelf,
swastika carved into his forehead.
Sat there for years, scared the devil out of me. For years, it took years before I could even walk up to the bookshelf and touch the book. Later on, started looking through it and started, what is this song? What is this song, Helter Skelter? Why does this play such a big role? My uncles handed me the White Album, put it on, never been the same since. I love it. Just the fact that it's, would you argue it's their only turn towards really a hard sound?
It's by far their hardest sound. Also, given all the buildup that song had from that book, it's cool that it didn't let you down. Because it's such a brutal song that it actually, you can see why it might have inspired a couple of mass murders.
But I just think musically it was really a departure for them. And
it was a huge departure for McCartney because he's the one who wrote it, which, in case everyone here has been sleeping under sheds and rocks and stuff, it's pretty common knowledge that John and Paul, even though every song said Lennon and McCartney, usually it was a solo with maybe a little bit of input from the other guy. But Helter Skelter, which you might think is a John song, was written by Paul.
Wow.
And it's a total Paul song, and it's the hardest song they ever did, by far.
Well, so you still think it's a terrible choice at number one?
No, it's pretty
good. There we go. That's what I like to hear.
Here, speaking of terrible choices at number one, I'm going... I'm Only Sleeping. From Rubber Soul / Revolver. I'm Only Sleeping is just a perfect little song. It was written kind of at the height of Beatlemania when the guys never got any rest. And John Lennon wrote a song basically about how sleepy he was.
So there's got to be some there's more of a backstory.
No, that's about it.
That's it. That's the backstory. It's a cute little
I just
song.
love it. It's just a perfect song. It's perfectly constructed. The melody is gorgeous. John Lennon sings it beautifully. It's one of those songs where not much seems to be going on, and then when it's over, it just seems magical to you.
Well, you can't argue with that. If you're going to wax that poetic about it, I'm going to say, okay, JLP. All right, let's take a look at these lists again. I mean, very little crossover. This is one of the first times that we have
only one song is
we have
very
knocked
unusual.
Heads. I'm not going to say that I disapprove of many of the songs on your list.
Well, at the end of the day,
one stands out for its atrociousness.
Yeah, well.
But
that's only compared to the 3 that stand out for their atrociousness on yours.
Oh.
But seriously, though, all 20 songs are awesome because it's the Beatles.
Okay.
There's no getting around that. This has been another incredibly entertaining episode of Vintage Vinyl. We want to thank you for joining us at www.courierjournal.com. Be sure and check us out on Twitter at CJVinyl.
Jeffrey!
Wow, this is never going to end. What? Hello, yes, Mom.
Do you all have any girls down there?
I have a girly man.
That's what I was afraid of.
They want to listen to Lady Madonna.
All right, see us next week at Vintage Vinyl. Thanks for joining us.